Hi and welcome to another episode of The Guest List. I'm your host, Steve Guest, and I'm really looking forward to having a chat with today's guest. For those of you that haven't listened to this podcast before, this podcast was born out of a book I wrote called Top Biller and a network that continued to grow where individuals were coming to me asking lots of questions. I didn't always have the answers, and I thought, what better thing to do than go and grab more intelligent people, more fascinating people than me, and add some value back into the market. So today's guest is no exception to that. I'm going to go straight into the bio for today's individual. This person is a no-nonsense, straight-talking marketeer with a keen eye for BS. Through his mentorship and training, his clients get to understand exactly what works for personal and professional branding. His make a different noise strategy to marketing makes people remember and go on to know, like, and trust. Key attributes to conversion. A former police officer, a licensee, and multiple business owner. This individual brings a raw reality to proceedings wherever he goes. So a massive warm welcome to Mr. Chris Williams.
Thank you very much. I can almost hear the applause in the background.
It's definitely there.
It's definitely going to be edited in afterwards. I've got a roar of an audience. Yeah.
Welcome along.
Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. We've known each other for a few years now. I think, ironically, it was LinkedIn and a bit of marketing that brought us together back in the day, wasn't it?
It was. I can still remember those chats over. I think it was tea, wasn't it, that we had over
at the Royal.
At the Royal, wasn't it? Yeah.
Going back some time, and I think the powers of social media, we both understood it then anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that will be obviously the topic of discussions today. So I suppose one of the big things for me, make a different noise. It already sounds as if it could ruffle a few feathers, certainly by way of marketing. What's that about? What are you looking to kind of deliver from that?
So the make a different noise method and subsequent company name is designed, or pretty much as a Ron Seal moment. It does exactly what it says on the tin. Mm-hmm. The idea being that those people that do make a different noise to the rest of the crowd get known, get liked, get seen, get trusted more. And that's what we apply to our marketing. It doesn't necessarily mean that things that stand out or make a ridiculously loud noise and almost be a bit bullish. It just means that understanding the prospect audience and understanding what a different noise to them would be, mm-hmm. Which makes them stand out. So, for example, the easiest way of explaining that is when you're in a restaurant and everybody's talking and you can hear the cutlery and the chatter and the chefs and the waiters all making the noise, as well as all the patrons in the restaurant. The only noise that shuts everybody up for that split second is when a waiter trips over and smashes a few glasses. And if you're in the UK, we all go, whoa, wanker. But traditionally, that cuts through the whole world, that different noise, what's just gone on. Yeah. And it's that very same principle of what starts the make a different noise strategy in terms of marketing, which we apply.
That's a good way of putting it. It's very much observe the masses and do the opposite in many ways.
Very much so. And again, not just to sort of pick up on that, it's not necessarily do the opposite, but do something different.
Yeah.
So, if everyone's being really quiet, you standing up, shouting at the top of your voice, yeah, you'll get heard, but you'll also might get, everybody else in the crowd going, shut up, will you? So it's about understanding what that audience would be receptive of and pushing the boundaries within that. So it's not the same for everybody. Absolutely not.
Okay. I've got a couple of things. So I talk and mention your name a lot when I'm talking to recruiters. It's in a good way as well. When I'm doing the coaching or mentoring, or when I've been asked to do personal brand seminars or Q&As, and your name always invariably crops up. And this comes back to something that happened in 2018. I'm sure you remember it. I remember it vividly. I was driving down to Watford. I had a head office meeting at 8 o'clock. I'd been up since about 5:30, 6, going down the motorway. I was listening to Gary V. I think it was Crush It. and I'd been procrastinating and doing my first ever social media video. And I was petrified, if I'm honest. And I came up with every excuse under the sun not to do it for about 18 months. I got out the car outside the head office. I did a 30-40 second rubbish video. I looked like some sort of hobo being dragged in off the street. The video, from memory, it might have morphed a little bit, was pretty much, there's no value or content in this video, just getting over a personal hurdle. This is me. This is my first ever social media video. Thanks very much. Something like that. And I was chuffed to bits I'd done it. And then about 30 seconds later, you delightfully put underneath, now I challenge you to do 10 videos in 10 days. And I accepted, and then was petrified from that very moment. So question to you, firstly, why did you do it? How dare you?
Well, the easy answer to that is you can't really get through life if you only ever go over one hurdle once. Repetition of going over that hurdle means that you build repetition into what you do, and you manage to remove the fear factor because, well, you've already done it. So that was the first thing. Well, if it's great to see that first video. It's great to see that you've taken that step, and that is a huge step for a lot of people. I work with people and it's taken them 3 months to get to the point where they're confident enough to share a picture of themselves, let alone doing a video. So you've took that big step, but whenever somebody does take that big step, it's really important that the following leg follows through pretty quick.
Yeah.
Otherwise you fall over.
Yeah, I am genuinely, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, genuinely grateful for that comment, because not only were the following 10 days of putting those videos out extremely valuable, it became, I suppose you get to the point where it's almost habitual and you just think, well, it's just another video.
Yeah.
Actually, but it starts the kind of cogs in the brain working as to what content am I going to come up with today? What are people genuinely going to be interested in, or what do they feel in terms of the same that I can help with that potentially gets them to take that first step? And I am genuinely grateful for it.
I'll say thank you again, because I know you have said it. I think you've mentioned it in the book, haven't you? Your latest book. Yeah. So thank you.
I mention it a lot because I just think I've been on my own journey where you want to push outside that comfort zone and you want to do things that doesn't come naturally. And I know a lot of what we talk about today doesn't come naturally. Certainly to me, I am the quiet person that would rather sit at the back and make notes than make a different noise and do something that changes the perception or viewing of what I'm trying to achieve. And I've put that same task out to many people since then, and they've all progressed from it. And it started from that very comment. Yeah. Okay, in terms of staying along the lines of make a different noise, we've had this discussion before. Where do you draw the limit? Where do you, I suppose, stop from perhaps going too far and ruffling too many feathers?
The answer to that is it is trial and error. There's no two ways about it. You can experiment as much as you can, but until you physically do it, you don't know whether you've pushed it too far or not. You get a better understanding of what things that do work and don't work, but it's down to your audience. So if you know your core audience, and you only know that by who are the clients that I work with, who are the people that I want to work with, what's their makeup, what's their location, as much as information as you can about the people that are going to buy your services, and that's who the core message goes to. So if anything that you do would go against those people, then you're running the risk of alienating people and people turning off rather than turning on to what you're saying. Prime example, I know full well that I'm an atheist. I don't have any problems with anyone who believes in religion or anything like that, but I don't. I believe in science and all the other stuff. But I suppose that's not really an atheist if you believe in science. You know what I mean? So I know full well that for the level of work that I go into in terms of one-to-one mentoring, if you are a devout religious person, we're not going to get on, because I will be challenging you in certain ways, that sort of thing. Now that I'm more than happy with that. If somebody isn't happy that they are religious, and they're not going to want to work with me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So we did an experiment, I did an experiment back a couple of years ago, and on Easter morning, I wrote a post saying, "Happy faith, come back to life day." Now, I knew that was going to go a little bit, yeah, some people would go, "Oh, that's a bit too far." Some people would be, I'll see what you did there, very funny. And other people might just ignore us. Some people, yeah, whatever. And it went viral. It went viral. A lot of people said for the wrong reasons, because there are a lot of people that jumped on it. The ironic part about that whole post was the 2 death threats that I got, the amount of people that sent me abusive messages, people tried to find me on Facebook and other socials, sending me messages there. All of these people had some ounce of God or believer or Christianity within their profiles. Which ironically I thought wasn't a very Christian thing to do, to threaten to kill somebody, was it? But I suppose it shows you the fickleness of social media as well. But what that did do is I lost, I think it was about 70 to 90 followers over a 24-hour period, in terms of the follow account. But in terms of the new connections, I had nearly 2,000 people that wanted to connect.
My word.
And this was before I hit the 30,000 threshold, so we could accept quite a few of them. Now, what that did in the long run was that brought more people that were into my way of thinking and my type of I suppose, marketing, if you like.
Yeah.
And remove those that weren't.
Yeah, which is exactly what you want in many ways.
It is, and don't get me wrong, there are far better ways of doing it, and there are far easier ways of not causing a splash. And if I wasn't the owner of my own company, I probably wouldn't have done it. If I was working for somebody else, you then run the risk of bringing that company into dispute through association and that sort of stuff. So it's the make a different noise approach isn't about shock and awe. In that case, it was, and it worked for me. Yeah. But I dare say it probably wouldn't work for everybody. But I know it wouldn't work for everybody.
It's that balance, isn't it? I know a number of the listeners here. I know a number of people that I speak with will work for a big corporate PLC and now have certain constraints and boundaries that they are restricted to. And there'll be others that have the freedom to go and do something that they feel is funny, is confrontational, will divide opinion, all of those things. But it's finding perhaps where you sit and you're comfortable with, and understanding the potential risks or downsides of I suppose, a joke that has been taken the wrong way, opinion that isn't well liked. But all the influencers, all the people that lead and go out there and have good followings of social media will upset, because we're not all the same.
Exactly.
We all have different beliefs.
Yeah, if we were all the same, it'd be boring, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, you look at some of the best comedians in the world.
Yeah.
Most of them are close to the boat.
Yeah.
And we laugh, even though we might not agree, or we think, oh, that was close. But you'd still perhaps have a little bit of a laugh as well.
Yeah. I think a great example, if no one's ever heard of this guy, it's Anthony Jeselnik. He's an American comedian, which is ironic because, he's funny. There we go, I'm just alienating all of the US.
Thanks.
So his style of comedy is a little bit like Frankie Boyle was 10 years ago. Yeah. So it is very close to the now. But Frankie, I think, was a little bit too early in society to sort of be socially accepted. Now, there is nothing funny in any way, shape, or form about a dead baby. Mm-hmm. It is not. There's no funny. There shouldn't be any reason. Yet Anthony Jeselnik enables you to laugh at situational things that haven't happened, but you can imagine going, "Oh my God," and then holding that laugh back. And his delivery of that, it takes you on a path, and then he suddenly diverts you.
Yeah.
And that level of comedy is I think is incredibly clever, very, very clever. And there's a lot of people that when they're consuming content, whether it be comedic or not, that don't critically think. There's far too many people that don't critically think and would instantly go, "Oh, you're telling a dead baby joke. That's not funny."
Yeah.
Actually, just listen to the context of what he's saying. Listen to the situational comedy that he's putting in front of you. And it's the same with written content. You can write the most PC piece of content in the world. Somebody out there will see a word and go, I'm offended.
Yeah.
And that's something that we have to get over in terms of content producers. Yeah. That yes, you will offend somebody, but you know what? You can't please everybody. You've got to focus on what your audience is and what they're going to accept.
And it is strange, isn't it? You get different levels. I mean, I don't get huge amounts of trolls or attacks. I say when I did that 10 in 10 day video challenge, I had someone that commented on every video saying that my jumper didn't match my shirt, or I was wearing the wrong color combos for the day. And that's trivial stuff.
Yeah.
Someone goes out of their way to post every day and you're like, really?
I know. I can't believe your mum did that. That's quite shocking to me.
Told her time and time again. Returning. Okay, so in terms of individuals out there, so here's another thought. We mentioned about making a different noise, doing something different, and it doesn't have to necessarily be close to the bone. It doesn't need to be that thing that shocks.
Yeah.
But that for talking from personal experience, it took a long time for me to get used to putting posts out. And because I prefer to be that quieter person that sits at the back making the notes. I don't jump in with 2 feet. Lots of our listeners will be like that. How do you set about just being slightly different or doing something that nobody else does?
Well, the easiest way, and the easiest answer is to be yourself. And I'll put context to that in a second because that's a crap answer. But that's essentially what it is. It's not about creating filters or creating a fake lifestyle so you can share it on Instagram or anything like that. It's about being who you are. Now, I know predominantly most of your listeners are going to be in the recruitment world. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of recruiters, particularly on LinkedIn. There's a hell of a lot of them. And the vast majority, I'd probably go up to 99% of them, are unmemorable. I remember them because all they post is, oh, I've got a great job offering. It's always a great job as well, isn't it? It's always a fantastic opportunity.
I was going to say fantastic.
It's not just a job that's going to get your food on the table like most jobs, is it? It's a fantastic opportunity. So, I mean, there's a filter straight away. Tell it how it is.
Yeah.
I know we add all these superlatives to try and make something sound better than it actually is, to try and sell and promote. But you know, how many recruiters out there are actually writing from a point of view of exactly what it is? There's a job. It's pretty much average UK salary. You know, if you live within 5 miles, it's a really easy commute. Yeah. They let you have weekends off, which is a bonus. ... And write it as exactly it is, because there'll be people out there that'll go, you know what, this recruiter is actually quite a nice bloke, quite clearly, or woman, or whatever. Got to be politically correct now, haven't they? So they're telling it how it is.
Yeah, it's so true. I quite often look at things, even when I first got into recruitment. I am a different recruiter. I'm not a born salesperson by any stretch. As people know, I'm an ex-buyer. I'm borderline OCD. Very dull, very process procedure. Everything's got its place. But my view on recruitment, when I first got into recruitment, I could just see the problems where salespeople didn't follow up. They didn't do things when they said they were going to do. They didn't deliver on what they set out to do, and it was really simple stuff. And that's the same with posts. I list the jobs I have now. There's no oversell. It's, if you want to come and talk to me about these positions, give me a ring.
Yeah.
There's no, people can look at it and just know, oh, QS job in Birmingham. Yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah.
And you get a call.
Well, that's, and I think particularly in the recruitment world, we do overcomplicate lots of things. And I think the reason why recruiters get such a bad rep in the world is because of how recruitment is managed. And it's the people pushing the pens at the top who have gone through everything, and you do it how I did it because I did it really, really well, and that's how you do it. And it's these people that haven't really moved along with the times. And I'm quite qualified to talk about recruitment with my history, as you know, in terms of where I've worked. So understanding that times have changed drastically. We're still, in many recruitment offices, penned by the scores on the doors, i.e. what's up on there, that's how many deals we've got to get in this week. So there's pressure being put on straight away. There's also pressure in recruitment, paying crap to recruitment consultants because they get bonuses when they perform better. Why not just pay them accordingly, and then everybody comes up together rather than having just the odd one that does well and gets that commission? It just baffles me that way. But for those people that are average recruiters, they won't. But it'll all burn out, and it's a job that it's doing all right, and that those people that excel at it will be smashing their commission every month, getting the money flooding in every month, probably spending it all on the Friday with a few bottles of Dom Perignon and that showing off in the local club, and then on Monday going, I need a pot noodle for my lunch because I've got no money. I don't know if that's
but the Instagram post is the Friday, not the Monday.
Oh, exactly. You don't see the him getting the bus to work on the Tuesday because he's got no petrol in his car. So there's a disparity with recruitment in terms of the pressures that are being put on and the pressures that they accept as recruiters to do it. And that's where I think it boils down to they're not getting back to people because of the pressures of the job, the pressures of doing that. It's why recruiters don't post on LinkedIn. Well, why would I spend 15 minutes trying to engage with something that's not going to give me a commission this week? I'm going to do it in something else. I'm going to cold call and ring around and piss people off until one person goes yes. So there's no real advantage, instant gratification of posting socially.
People don't get it. I have lots and lots of conversations with previous colleagues, employers, and everything else, and I've been on a bit of a march for quite a long time now, trying to get people to post more, people to share the journey, the ups and downs, the ugly side of what happens, the fact that people don't turn up on a Monday or let you down or tell you one thing and do the other, the raft of excuses we've faced over the years of people not going to work, which could be a third book, you never know.
And to kind of just before, sorry to interrupt, just to put this into sort of a bit of perspective, one of my clients, I'm not going to mention the name because the financials are obviously under an NDA, but their goal for the first year of business was survival, as most is, and it was to get to six figures, get to 100,000. Within 6 months, they'd already smashed that 100,000. They're looking at 3 to maybe 4 times that by the end of the first year. As being on their own, they've gone from a team of 1 to a team of 6.
Okay.
On their own, and they're doing temp as well as perm.
Okay.
So and that's if you look at the content that this team are now producing, you as a recruiter, you go, what value is that?
Yeah.
Look at the bank balance. That's the value.
But that is the view, isn't it? People don't see 90% of my placements this year have come from me posting and having people come to me because they've seen something I've done. And it's not through emails, it's not through messages, it's not from spammy emails, it's not from copious amounts of cold calls. Whilst there's still elements of that dotted around, majority of what I do comes from consistently turning up every day and saying, hi, I'm over here, come and have a chat if I can help you.
But the methodology behind that is about the buyer journey. If you look for, if we're talking on the candidate experience, a candidate is not going to be looking for a job for their entire career.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be times when they're looking to move on and times that they're not. But if you're the guy that keeps popping up in their feed and you get a bit of rapport with that candidate over that period of time, when they do get into the buyer part of their buyer journey, right, I'm now wanting to find a job, they're going to go to the people that they know, like, and trust. It really is as simple as that. It's the same with the clients as well. It's that buyer journey. When the time is right, they'll come to the people that they know.
Yeah. And the proof in that, I mean, I don't do much networking. Obviously, we bump into each other at the golf networking, which is very different to your traditional turn up in a big room with a business card, stand in the corner, not knowing whether you should step forward or step back or say hello or not. But I can go to networking groups. I can walk into a room. And generally, if it's my market, people will come up and start talking to you as if they've known you forever. And you're sat there thinking, I have no idea who this person is. And that's the power of a warm conversation and not having to introduce yourself because people already know. It's really powerful.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it is. Being the person in the room that everybody knows for good or bad, has real positive impact. I don't get invited to BNI meetings anymore. I don't know why. But again, going into a meeting in that sort of formal structure, if you're already known for what you do, then you don't need to sell to anybody.
Yeah. And you've also the first name that pops into people's heads when they're sat there. Certainly for me, who can we go and find a QS from in the West Midlands?
Yeah.
Oh, you need to speak to Steve. He keeps popping up on my timeline every day. It's always his face.
Yeah, annoying little shit. But he's got.
I think that's what I'm called these days, to be honest.
Is that what it's whenever you ring somebody, it comes up on the phone? Oh, Steve,
yeah, it's him again. Yeah. When will he go away? He's on my monitor. He's on my phone. He's in my inbox. Okay, so let's just have a quick touch on the fact that obviously there's lots of what would appear successful social media marketeers that will post pictures of them bathing in a load of money, surrounded by flash cars with their private jets. I mean, what do you think about that sort of marketing, and where do you feel it has a place, if it has a place?
Unfortunately, it does have a place, because we are still, as a society as a whole, as I'm talking generally now, we are crap at critically thinking, looking at something and working out what it is I'm reading, what I'm seeing. So we see the likes of Instagram and Pinterest and image-based things that show these perfect lifestyles and go, oh, I want that. Rather than going, you know what? He's hired that car quite clearly. And because the other day he was driving a different car. And you know what? In fact, I know he lives around the corner. That's not his house. So instead of looking at something and going, you've just made all that crap up.
Yeah.
And just scrolling on, we go, oh, I want that Rolex. Because we're magpies. We see something we want and we try and get it. And therefore, when that person then posts about his course for $97, that's going to get you rich in 10 days, everyone goes, oh, I want to do that, because they're not thinking critically about it.
Yeah.
Where those, and again, one of the things that I really do like seeing on LinkedIn, but not for the reason why I think they're posted, is when somebody gets their first deal as a recruiter and they have to ding the bell or do that sort of stuff. Now, I know the idea behind why it is. It's to encourage, someone's done quite well, that sort of stuff. But when I look at those sort of things, all that says to me is, look at how good we are, ding ding, rather than anything else. And I know some people will probably do that and go, Chris, no, don't share your opinion. So be it. But it's, for me, a little bit cringy, that sort of stuff.
Do you know, I have this discussion a lot, and I have to say I kind of disagree. And my thought process is, certainly for recruiters, if I'm not saying I'm any good, if I'm not saying I've had a cracking week, I've done this, I don't ding any bells, I don't gong anything, I don't blow a horn at the end of the week or anything like that. But I do feel like people such as myself need to express to the world, actually, I am successful, I'm good at this. Because otherwise nobody would ever know. If I didn't do it, if I didn't put that post out, people wouldn't know. And therefore, do I have any credibility other than posting, I need a QS in Birmingham? And I think there's an element where you need to do it.
Yeah, I think there is, and I think you are right. And I think
balance.
It is, and I think that this. So I'll give two examples of what I believe is the right way and the wrong way. Wrong way is obviously, look at here's Alan. He's just got his 12th deal of the week in, ding ding ding. Yeah, great. Or here's a summary of what we've done this week. We've got 4 people into new jobs. We've got 3 people transfer from an old job to a new job. We've got 6 people now who have been able or are going to be able to put food on the table.
Yeah.
Make it about them, not about me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you become more credible.
Yeah, true. We're on the same path there.
Yeah.
Because that's the sort of post I would be putting out.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's a good point. And I think it's finding, I split my posts during the week. I have 7 business posts related to what I do, my market and everything else.
Yeah.
2 posts about me. So hopefully draws in that personal branding and the ability for people to get to know me. And then 1 post that hopefully divides opinion, generates a little bit of different interaction. and grabs other people to my market. Okay, so you've just done a TEDx talk.
I have, yes. Yep.
I think you are definitely the first person that I've spoken to on this podcast that has done a TEDx talk. Talk to me about what that means, or where does it come from for people that have never perhaps heard of a TEDx talk?
A TEDx is in the business world is heralded as like the pinnacle of public speaking. You get a TEDx, you've got the ability to get featured on the main TED website. You've then got the ability potentially to be cherry picked by TED themselves to go and stand on stage at one of their live TED conferences over in the States. So it's kind of a big deal on the perception side of it. The reality side of it, it's very easy to do one. And I'm not going to take anything away from being how brilliant I am, but I am going to sort of give a few home truths about the whole process. So, TEDx talk, you can go onto the TEDx website and you can have a look at what events are coming up. What events? So, for an event to be registered with TEDx, the organisers have got to get the license to be able to do it first, to use the TEDx name. As soon as that license is granted, then the details of that will be put on the website so people can see where these events are going to be popping up over the next year. Then it's a case of reaching out to the organizer, who will be listed on the TEDx website. Here's the organizers, and normally the contact details, whether it's an email address or whether it's their social profiles, and go and massage their ego. Go and talk to them. Oh, I understand that you've got a license to do such and such. When are auditions open? Are you doing auditions? Will you accept auditions from me? Such that sort of thing, and get your name known. And now I didn't go that particular process. I literally saw a post on LinkedIn of somebody saying we're now open auditions for speakers, and I got tagged by a few people, and then I had a conversation with the organisers, submitted my application, and was got the gig, so to speak. But that TEDx, in terms of what it does for somebody, one, it gives a bit of credibility. Interestingly enough, though, when I did a poll about whether people would treat somebody who has a TEDx speech under their belt any differently, or would consider them to be any sort of more in the hierarchy of speakers, most people said it didn't matter a jot. So I think it's more down to the ego of the speaker and the ability to be able to say, look, I've performed on a stage that's got the TED logo behind it, and here's the link so you can go and see it. So in the grand scheme of things, doesn't mean a fat lot. That being said, since doing it when was it, in October?
Yeah,
I think it was October, wasn't it? Yeah, that's about a month ago, I think it was now. Yeah. So since doing, in fact, over a month ago, since doing that, I've now had 2 brand new clients and 3 speaking gigs confirmed between now and just over Christmas, as well as going back to doing a couple of sessions potentially at the moment with some universities. So it's all, it's been a positive.
Yeah, and the talk itself, I've watched the video a couple of times now. And the link will be put in the notes to this podcast. Just give us a bit of an overview, perhaps not spoiling too much of the actual talk. Give us an overview of what you talk about and what you go through.
Well, quite fitting for this podcast is I talk about my journey in a recruitment business, or part of that journey. I was employed by a very well-known recruitment firm in the UK, where I didn't have the best experience. It started being very good, and then it started to go south. But the reason it went south was not because of the company, it was because of me. And in the TEDx talk, we talk about the filters that we apply to our lives, the fakery that we put up to make our lives look a little bit better than what it actually is, and the detrimental impact that can have on our mental health. So I won't go into weeds as to what the talk is about, but it is quite dark, but it is also humorous.
Yeah,
I think
we're guilty of that as well, aren't we? I think sometimes it's there to protect us.
Yeah,
self-preservation element, isn't it? Sometimes it's because we actually don't want to allow ourselves the truth to seep in. And for recruitment as an industry, I think we're very good at masking a lot of things because we're frightened of letting people down, letting ourselves down, letting our managers down, not hitting targets.
We're also living in a world where perception plays more of an importance than reality.
Yeah.
It's what we post on socials, what our life looks like to the outside. Yeah. Whereas, and I think that's probably one of the biggest contributing factors to the modern epidemic we've got of mental health problems.
Yeah.
It's because we all try to make people happy and show that we are happy. Life ain't like that.
No. And it's most certainly not over the last 18 months, 24
exactly.
months. And I often have a conversation, because I am a skipping to work kind of person every day, literally skipping to work, happy, smiley face, positive, everything has a solution. And I've been affected over the last 18 months, 2 years. And I sit there and think, well, if it's affecting me, who's normally pretty up there in terms of positivity, then it's been a tough ride.
It has. And I think one of the best things to come out of the pandemic, if we can actually say it's the best thing, is this idea that it's okay to not be okay.
Mm.
And I know mental health charities, particularly male suicide prevention charities, things like that, have been talking about this. It's okay to not be okay. But I think the fact that we've been all sort of penned into our own little lives without much of a talk outwards, it's caused a lot of people to break and to go, you know what, I need help. I'm not doing very well. To talk to mates and say, you know what, I've had a bit of a shit week.
Yeah,
that's a positive. Although it's a shame we had to go to a global pandemic to get to there.
Yeah, there's definitely been a shake-up, and I think the fact that it's come to the forefront has perhaps allowed people to feel comfortable in saying, do you know what, actually I'm not all right today, or can I have a quick word because I'm not feeling great. And I think, as you say, men being the typical men, me being the typical bloke, I'm not one to raise my hand ever, really. And I think it's made me more aware of the people around me and my own thoughts.
Yeah. But you know what, just being aware that feeling you've got where you actually don't want to go to work this morning, or you just feel a bit under the weather, that needs addressing. You need to critically think again about, why am I feeling like this? What's causing it?
Yeah.
What's going on in my life? And the minute, particularly us men, start doing that a little bit more, it means that we get to go to the doctors a little bit sooner when we found something that should be checked. It means that we start talking to the missus a little bit more, or the boyfriend, or whatever it might be, about the problems that we're going through. Nothing bad can happen about being more open to talk. If anyone's listening there saying, oh yeah, but my dad's a bit of a man's man, I don't give a shit. I really don't. If somebody's going to judge you based on you wanting to talk about something, then they're not the support structure you thought they were.
100%. Okay, in terms of Chris Williams, the person you are and where you've got to now, who would you say have perhaps been the key people around you, or the people that you, I suppose, look up to, or they've had some influence along the way that has got you to where you are now?
Without sounding too cliche, my kids. More so my son than my daughter. So my daughter's 14, my son's 7. And it's been more so. So when Millie was growing up, or when she was a lot younger, I wasn't successful. I still don't say I am now, but we had a weekly food budget of 40 quid. And that was, we'd try and get a chippy in that as well. We didn't have a lot of money at all. We lived on pasta bakes. The stirring sauce that you just ran in the oven. We lived on that. So we didn't have a lot of money at all. And it was a struggle. That's been born, and we're doing a little bit better now. Seeing Zach being 100% a child, and seeing what it's like to not want for anything, and he's still, it's not like we spoil him rot or anything, but he's certainly got this sort of fulfillment of life. And seeing that in the boy and going, you know what, where did I lose that? That's probably one of my biggest drivers at the moment. This is the reason, one, I'm probably unemployable. Two, why I am who I am is because I don't feel that society in any way, shape, or form should form part of who I am.
Yeah.
That should be based on who I am and my close loved ones and family. So I say, that from a business point of view, I'm going to say Tony Robbins, but not for the reason that a lot of people will be, now getting moist in the pants about Tony Robbins, because I loathe absolutely everything that man does.
Okay.
And the reason being is because, and there's quite a few of them, and Gary Vaynerchuk to a degree, they paint this picture of what you should do to be like them. What's wrong with being like yourself? Why do we have to go on somebody else's journey? Why can't we just go, you know what, I don't know where my journey is. I'm just going to walk and see what happens along the way. And as long as I'm happy, as long as I've got my health, as long as my family are, are fed and watered, that's life, isn't it? We're here to procreate, create another one, and then die. So, why do we have to go and chase, getting a private jet? Grant Cardone is the same, absolute arsehole. But you know what? If we're saying that, there are some positives that they do sort of portray, and there are certain things in their teachings that are influential. Well, clearly they are to a lot of people. But I wouldn't ever recommend to anybody that you only follow one person and go, that's the person who I want to be like.
Yeah. And I agree completely. I think I've read a lot of Tony Robbins' books and Grant Cardone. I don't necessarily follow them, but they do have some good stuff, and they're very motivational, and they lead you down the path, for me anyway, they lead you down the path of the growth mindset and thinking to not just accept things. But I do agree, they're very different people. I think the Americanisms as well, obviously being British, conservative and everything else, it takes you down a different path anyway, or does for me. But I love all of that. I love all of the people that you mentioned.
I know you do, that's why I said it.
Well, maybe. But I love it on the fact that I suppose I owe a lot to it. And I have a similar thought in terms of my oldest, who's now 9, was born in 2012. And that's really where my journey of growth and going out of comfort zones, going and doing things that I wouldn't necessarily have done before, because my why has changed and I'm doing things for somebody else. And listening to those individuals, watching them speak and do their bit, it does give you that fire in your belly. Whether you like or loathe it.
It does, and I think that's where the critical thinking comes into it again. And if you one of the piece of advice that Gary put out once, and I think it was something like, it's along the lines, if you're not creating 40 pieces of content a day, you're not smashing it.
Okay.
And he went on to talk about how you do it, so you can have like one video, you can repurpose it on different, and all that sort of stuff. And I instantly, as most people would have done, thought of that and go, oh, that's really hard to do, 40 pieces of content. How am I going to create 40 pieces of content? My issue with the whole thing is he's telling you to create 40 pieces of content when he's got a media team of 12 people. And it's like, we haven't got a £150,000 a year per person setup like you've got in your marketing team, mate. I'm afraid we've not got that. So creating 40 pieces of content would be a full-time job, and I've got a job to do. So the realism, I know the message he was trying to get across, but the realism of that is if you critically think, you say, well, he wants me to create 40. Well, if I can create 4, then that message is starting to get through. But people don't think like that. They
just dismiss it because I'm not going to do 40 pieces.
Or they go, right, I need to get another credit card and get some Vietnamese PA to write me 40 pieces of content every day. Or whatever it might be.
The message is lost then, isn't it? It's like a great quote from Grant Cardone was, white space in your calendar is for the devil.
Wow. That's why I always put my lunch breaks in there.
So true. Okay, in terms of listeners and what they take from here, if there was one single piece of advice in terms of, if I can perhaps lead you down a certain path, if they were going to go out there and make a different noise or do something that sets them apart from the rest, what would you tell them or suggest for them to go and do?
The easiest way of making a different noise at the moment, now if 150,000 recruiters go out and all do this at the same time, it's not a different noise, is it? But the way in which it's done in the message is be yourself. Don't worry about what people think about you. Mm-hmm. Very easy to say when you've not got the responsibilities like I haven't, in terms of an employer and things like that. Your life is interesting to somebody. It's going to be, if you used to do it like a journal type of entry into LinkedIn on a daily basis. This morning, managed to pour coffee on my cereals and milk in my cup, and had an absolute nightmare. Little baby decided to vomit all over my shirt just before I was left for work, and all that sort of thing. You write something like that, and there's going to be other people in this book and this world that are going to, you know what? I know exactly where you've been with that.
Yeah,
it's relatable. If you can relate to your audience, they will relate back to you, and you'll get engagement. And that engagement, in turn, over time, will become trusted engagement, which will then become easier conversions.
Yeah, because it's authentic and real.
Yeah. I tried not to use the word authentic because it's such an overused word in marketing at the moment.
Yeah.
To the point where it baffles me that there's companies out there that will write your content and so you can be your authentic self. And it's like, they're two different things. If somebody else is writing, that's not you. So authentic is overused in the marketing world. Just be real.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Be real. And you know what? If you're having a shit day, tell people you're having a shit day. Yeah. I had a client on Sunday morning who literally posted a picture of her in bed. Not what you think, all wrapped up, duvet, and she's like that, going, you know what, I'm having a crap day today.
Yeah.
She had, I think it was 3 inquiries by the end of the day into her services. Relatable content brings engagement and then brings business.
It's a great way to finish the podcast. If people are wanting to come and speak to you, find out about the training and mentoring that you offer, where's the best place to come and find you?
Best place, probably email. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on there every day. Chris Williams PLM on LinkedIn for proper LinkedIn marketing. Or email chris@makeadifferentnoise.com. Very, very simple and easy, all one word. And just tell me what you want to do, and we'll see what we can do. Fantastic.
All of those links, email addresses will be put in the notes. Chris, a huge thank you. I've really enjoyed chatting to you today.
Not a pleasure. You're playing golf next week, aren't you? Week after? It's next week, isn't it?
Should be, yeah.
Yeah, good luck. Right.
If I'm allowed out.
If you're allowed out. Look forward to it.
Cheers, Chris.
No worries, mate. Take care.